In this one, we're going to do the next installment of my 3-part series of my 15 favourite cichlids that I've ever kept, and that is over a 34-year period. So we've already done part 1, so if you didn't see part 1, go back and watch it. That's my 15 to 11. In this one, we're going to do 10 down to 6. This is part 2, like I said. Let's get right into it. The first one on the list today, which is number 10, is a fish that I kept, the first fish I ever kept for a start. The fish that probably, if I'm counting, maybe the fish that I've kept the most of. It's a really common species, and I actually considered not putting this in my 15, and then I was like, no, I have to put it in somewhere. So that is the Oscar cichlid. It's just a common fish. Loads of people have kept them, but for me, it's in my heart because it was the first fish I ever kept, and I mean, normal people would have kept a goldfish or even some tetras or something. I mean, back then people were, I think the first kind of fish that people were keeping were white cloud mountain minnows and gold barbs. But me, I got myself an Oscar. That came on the back of the guy who got me into fish keeping, which was a girlfriend I had. It was her dad, and he already had tanks set up, and that's when I fell in love with fish keeping, and I used to help him to maintain his tanks. But he had Oscars, and you know, that's what made me fall in love with him. And then he bought me a tank for Christmas one year. I think it was Christmas 1990, and he bought me an Oscar cichlid. So it was the first fish I ever kept. So it has to get into this list. Like I said, most of you probably watching this have kept one. I think this is quite a bit of a monster fish, and I don't think people realise that. These get to big sizes. I think the biggest ones I ever had was a pair, and they were around about 13 inches, if I remember rightly. And yeah, an absolutely stunning fish. The Oscar cichlid does make the top 10. It's at number 10, never mind the top 15. Anyway, guys, the next fish on the list is a fish that got me into Central American fish. So when I say Central American fish, I mean Central American cichlids. It was a fish that I'd always wanted to keep. It was the only Central American that was really interesting me around about 6 years ago, 7 years ago maybe, and I came across a pair of them, and they actually spent a little bit of time on this channel right at the beginning, and that is the Jaguar cichlids. And as you know, you'll have seen that I've kept a couple of pairs in the time I've done this channel, but my first ever pair were a special pair. And the male, my granddaughter called him Mr. Wimpy, so we called him Mr. Wimpy. Sadly, I lost the female. He didn't kill her or anything, we just lost the female. And then I had the male on his own, tried a couple of females with him, and then I came home one day and he'd basically, I think he darted into the tank and he snapped the underside of his gills, and yeah, it was really sad. I was so gutted to lose that fish, and he was an absolute beauty, as were all the Jaguar cichlids I've ever kept. Obviously, Central American fish, one that's bit more common here in the UK, and they're really easy to breed. They breed for fun. They're great to watch, because what I always say about parachromis is they are great parents. When it comes to Central American cichlids, like the amphilophus, a lot of them can be really nasty, and I'm talking about the bigger stuff. The parachromis for me are really good parents, and I've had probably 3 pairs of Jaguar cichlids, and all 3 were fantastic. Had a fantastic bonded relationship, and as you've seen, if you've watched my videos for a while, they have thousands of fry. But yeah, the Jaguar cichlid is number 9 on the list. Number 8 on the list is a fish that's just caused me nothing but frustration. Honestly, this fish for me, arguably, if things had gone better with it, probably would be higher up the list, but it didn't, because I've just had no luck with them whatsoever, and that is the Andinoacara Stolzberg. I chased this fish for a long time, wanted to keep it for a long time, never saw it for many years, and obviously it's a South American cichlid, so I was more interested in this for a while, long before I was keeping Central American cichlids, and I really wanted to keep one, never saw one, and then I got the opportunity to get one. That was back in 2020, and I took that opportunity. I think it was some that had been bred by Dan Vaughan, who's on YouTube, and Cichlids of the Southeast. He bred some, and the guy who owned a shop up here actually brought them up here, and I took one of them, and I had him for probably about a year, but I had nothing but trouble with him. So he used to get white poop all the time, he'd flick a lot. Don't get me wrong, he'd have long spells of being okay, and then we'd get these little periods of time where we got these episodes. And then when we moved, I lost him in the move, which I was so gutted. And then back in 2022, was it? Yeah, it was 2022. A guy reached out to me and said he had three of them, sorry. He had three of them, did I want to buy them? So obviously I was like, yeah, let's do it. I bought the three, and I had the same issues with those three. For whatever reasons, I just struggle with this fish. I'd love to keep this fish so much, and I'm almost got to a point now where I probably wouldn't dare bring them back into my fish room just because it just didn't work out for me. But I do love this fish, always loved this fish for a long time. A lot of people prefer the what they call the gold sawms, which are obviously incorrectly labelled green terrors, but that's another story. But I prefer these. These are an absolutely amazing fish. And like I said to you, these would have been higher up the list, I think, if I'd have had more luck with them. But as it stands, I have had a lot of bad luck, and they've made number 8 on the list. The next fish on the list, and this is the number 7 fish, it's the Nicaraguan cichlid. Again, another fish that arguably could be higher up the list. It's just not easy to do when you're doing these top 10s or whatever they are, top 15s, top 5s. It's not easy to do. So the Nicaraguan, I wanted to be higher. I felt as though in my head that these were one of my favourite fish, and I think at number 7, it means they're one of my favourite fish, and I love them. And I've had a couple of absolutely belting pairs of these fish. The irony is I've just let a pair go back to Bill, but honestly, over this period of last 4 years of keeping them, they have absolutely been one of my favourite fish. And one of the fish that I bred that I was really proud of. I was really happy and proud to have bred that species. Absolutely amazing fish, and that is number 7 on the list. The last one on today's list, which is number 6 of my top 15, is another South American cichlid, and a fish that I've kept for many years. Again, it's another common fish, but there's loads of different types you can get, and that is the Severum cichlid. I love the Severum cichlid. I have had species-only tanks of Severums. I have had some fantastic types of Severums. I've kept pretty much most of them. So we've had the Red Tiger Severum, which is a stunning fish. The Inarida Severum, which is just an epic fish. The Natata Severum, which is very rare, but I had the chance once to own that. We've got the Rockkeel Sev, which was not one of my favourite types, but still, again, a really, really nice fish. We've got the Librifer Sev, which is the mouth brooder, and I could go on and on. There's all types of Sevs, and honestly, a fantastic fish to keep. And in a species-only tank, they look absolutely incredible. And I would definitely think one day I will do Severums again. I would never not do that because they are a fish that's close to my heart. It's a fish that, along with the Oscar, I have kept for many, many years. I just think they pip the Oscar for me in the heart process, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's the last one on this list, and that is the Severum. So let me know in the comments, guys, what you think of those on this video and where you think they rank for you. Also, did you expect any of them to be at this point? And obviously, we said on these videos, we're going to do one honourable mention on each video. And on this video today, our honourable mention goes to a pocket rocket, a fish that probably everyone has kept, every cichlid keeper has kept anyway, but a fish full of character, full of personality, and you can go in pretty much every fish shop and get this fish, and that is the convict cichlid. Now, I'm going to do stroke Nanalutis because I love the Nanalutis. I know people call it a yellow convict. It's not a yellow convict, but for this purpose, I am going to say the convict cichlid stroke Nanalutis. They definitely deserve a mention, and again, another fish that could make anybody's top 15 cichlids, just outside on mine. But that's today's honourable mention, the convict cichlid. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed that. Again, let me know in the comments what you think of these choices. Give me some of your choices. It's good fun, and I challenge anybody who has a YouTube channel to do it, because I love watching videos like that as well. But anyway guys, I just want to say a massive thank you as always, and I'll see you all on the next one.